Hello everybody and welcome. Dave here for the next instalment of Dave Gets Wood, where I'm going to start applying the clear coat to the legs. Now as I'm getting this ready, I've got a bit of information for you. Okay, I have cut the pieces of wood that I need for the support pieces. Excuse me. And they're going to need varnishing up to the level of the legs, but I'm not going to start them yet. I want to get the legs finished first. But I have been thinking even more in depth about how I'm going to go about doing the next stage on the table. And it's an interesting situation because with the support pieces, the brackets that these attach to, if I take what's currently there and put one on top of the other and drill all the holes, you'd think that'd be fine. But I've got to remember that one of the pieces is bigger than the other two. So I don't want to be using that one because it'd be the wrong size. But not only that, I don't know what holes are there, so maybe pre-drilling the holes isn't a good idea. Maybe what I'd be better off doing is getting all of the longer pieces of wood repaired, dealt with, done, and fixed back onto the table in their correct positions, and then getting the support pieces lined up and then drilling the holes. That might work. Also might not work. My concern though is that if I pre-drill the holes, I could end up damaging the wood, and I don't want to do that. And in a way, well, not in a way, I think I'm just thinking, I've just had another idea. What I might be better off doing is going with my idea of, by the way, I'm just mixing my varnish while I'm talking. Okay, if we put the long pieces in and we can make sure they're in the right place, because there's only one of them that's really out of place a little bit, a few mil, and that's where there's the piece of wood that's too long. So we should be able to get those in place properly. And to double check on that, what I can do is I can use the legs as guides, and I can make sure that my brackets, I'm going to call them, I'll call them something else I'm sure, but the bits that attach to the legs, I can then make sure that it all is going to fit flush before I sort of drill the holes. One problem I may have though is that lining up the outer four is not going to be easy, because basically I've got a piece of wood with holes in it where the bracket is going to go up to, but I can't see through the bracket to see where the hole is, and I can't come through the other side because there isn't a hole on the other side. So I may have to pre-drill some holes, or I could just say, you know what, fuck it, we'll pre-drill the holes, making sure we don't use the one bracket that's too big as a base, because then that fucked the whole thing up. Okay, so that's one thing that I've been having to deal with. Another is how I'm going to make sure that as when I put it back together, I'm putting pieces in the right place. Well, what I have decided to do there is I'm going to use the Dremel to make sure I've got a cloth. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Dremel and I'm going to carve a marking into it. So where there's the long piece of wood that has got the little piece of wood that connects it to the table, I'm going to put a marking on the long piece, and the same marking will be on the thin piece, and there'll also be the same marking on the table itself. Now I'll need a different marking for the other end because of the other support piece, and then other markings for the other side as well. So I was thinking about you like doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Could, but so I've decided I'm going to go with a slightly different approach in that I'm just going to use lines, but it's not going to be straight lines. Well, it's going to be straight lines, but it'll be like a straight line with a corner for one end, and then on the other side it'll be inverted. See? But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Move the camera out. But also, what was it, yesterday? No, it wasn't yesterday. What was it yesterday? No, it wasn't yesterday. Friday was when I cooked the wood up. I went up to the folks to see them and I cooked the wood up. But I wanted to take the bracket that was on the table that isn't broken. If you remember, I said there's 3 that were broken and 1 that wasn't, and I wanted to take the non-broken one with me. So I went through the process of detaching a couple of the support pieces to be able to get to the screws to detach to the bracket, and what happens? I find that one of the screw heads has been absolutely fucking annihilated. Not by me, by someone else. So I then spent God knows how long on Friday, trying to get this screw out with no joy, and I didn't have my Dremel here with me, so I couldn't use that to carve it out. So I was basically trying to hammer a new crosshead into it, and it wasn't quite working. But I had, because that's one reason why I went out on Friday, was to get the Dremel. Now, because I've got the Dremel now, hopefully I'm going to be able to carve a new groove into that screw head to get it out. And what it's also led me to do is have a look at some of the other screws, and there are a few more where the head has been annihilated. So I'm going to need to work some fucking magic on them as well. Now you could say just drill them out, but I don't think that's going to necessarily work on these. I mean, if I have to, that'll be the final option, but I don't want to have to go down the route of drilling it out, because if I drill it out and then end up with a bigger hole, and that means using a fatter screw, and that could create splitting of wood, or all different issues like that. So I want to minimise things as much as possible. So it does mean that I need to try and get these screws out, but also I am going to have to replace the screws, and if I'm going to have to replace some screws, I might as well replace them all. So I'm going to have to go and get myself some new screws, because I haven't got any of that specific size, or even if I have, I haven't got enough. And if I'm going to get some new screws, then I may as well have a look at getting some new washers, rather than trying to clean up the washers that are already on it. I might as well just replace them, get some brass washers, and that should then hopefully solve that. So yeah, so there's been a few things sort of slowly happening. What I have found is in having to take off one of the little support pieces from the underside of the table, I did find that it's not going to be too difficult to take those bits off. However, the long support pieces, they're not screwed in. I've got a feeling they're glued on. Now, if it is glued on, then really I still need to take it off because one of them isn't on right. That's the one that's out of place because of the bigger piece. So yeah, so I may need to be a little bit careful, but I've already sort of sized up the wood, and as I've mentioned before, I could just go down the route of replacing the longer support pieces. I'd rather not, because it means having to measure up and cut angled grooves in them for where the brackets are going to fit, and it's going to need a lot of precision. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather use the original wood that's there. But if I happen to damage the wood so much that I can't reuse it while trying to take it off, then that may have to be a route I'm going to have to go down. So I kind of have to be prepared for damaging the wood while trying to lift it off. Now, another thing I noticed as well on the table itself was a few minutes we'll wait for this to dry, which it's been applied pretty quickly. I forgot what I was saying. Yes, spending a bit more time looking at the underneath of the table kind of did show me that there was definitely more attached to the bottom of the table, because there's quite a lot of little screw holes. What they're there for, why they're there, I don't know. But it may be a case of there's a bit of filling work for me to do on the underside of the table, which if there is, then okay, fair enough. But yeah, so the thing is, we're getting to the point now as well where I'm applying the clear coats to the legs. I'm hoping to try and get 2 coats on at least 2 of these legs today. If I can get 2 coats on all of them, I'd be over the moon, but I don't want to overdo myself. And also, I do need to make sure that I give these coats time to dry. And I'm also going to be applying a bit to the ends as well, to protect it. But yeah, because we're sort of on the clear coat stages of the legs, we are definitely now into the realm of next phase. Now, I did say that what I was going to do with the specific next bit would be varnishing up my brackets. I don't know if that is going to be the best thing to do. I think drilling them, at least the 4 outer holes, might be the right way to go. Or even just drilling all of the holes. Yeah, I think I may be better off just drilling all the holes, get it done. But if I'm going to be fitting the longer pieces of wood back to the table first, then I could potentially hold off on doing the brackets next, and yes, get them drilled, but then not worry about varnishing them until perhaps I've stripped and I'm ready to varnish some of the other wood, or in perhaps fear of giving myself too much stuff to varnish at the same time, I could just get the brackets done and out of the way. Yeah, I have to think about it. But anyway, right. I'm going to press pause for a moment so I can check my messages, and in a second we'll come back and we'll finish off applying the first coat of clear. Back in a second. Okay, so let's carry on with doing our varnishing. This one. Yes, it is this one. Okay, so turn it over. I must say, I really do like how these have come out, how they're looking. Every time I've gone past them over the last few days, it's definitely been a case of, yeah, I'm happy with them. There's not been a moment where I thought, ooh, maybe you could do with a bit more. No, it's been more a case, yeah, that's right, that's ready. So I've just put a little too much clear on here. Be careful doing that. I can wipe it off, but so the reflection is lovely. I can actually see the green in the reflection. I mean, that's when you can tell you've got a decent reflection, is when you can actually see colour in the reflection. Excuse me, my throat's a little croaky today. Interestingly, I have been sleeping better the last few nights. I don't know why. I don't know if it's I have been listening to a different audio. I mean, it's still weather. Excuse me, but maybe because it's a different thing, it's not like my body's used to it. So yeah, I think, what was it? I went to bed about 3 o'clock this morning. Okay, slept for about 3 hours and woke up, but was able to pretty much roll over, go back to sleep, and slept until 1:30, which is probably the longest sleep. Well, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 6. Yeah, longest sleep I've had for quite some time, 6 hours. So I was quite pleased with that. Okay, so to retry and do the ends. It's been a while, but I'm only probably going to put a couple on the ends. I mean, to be honest, I'm hoping to only do 3 clear coats here on these anyway. But if it does need more, then I'll do more. There's definitely a case of, if I can get away with just doing 3 in total, then fabulous there. So that's coat number 1 on there. I'll bring you over. loads on there. That was definitely a poor application. There might still be enough left in the sponge considering how much I put on that bit. I'm just contemplating as well whether I might be better off with some different cloths for mopping up. Okay, these are microfiber and they're very good at picking up the excess, but I'm wondering if, I mean they're still knobbly. I don't know what the technical term is for. Still fluffy. And maybe something that was more like a sort of t-shirt material, a lint-free cloth like that might be better. I think this is a pre-used cloth, so this has been through the wringer and it's been washed, so it might not be as effective as they normally are. Get her ends done. So that then is clear coat number 1. Oh shit, splattered myself. Clear coat number 1 applied. So we're going to let this dry off, and we'll see if we can come and get clear coat number 2 put on in a bit. Right, which will probably be on another video. Right, have a good one. See you later.